Sabotage is a deliberate action aimed at weakening a polity, effort, or organization through subversion, obstruction, disruption, or destruction. One who engages in sabotage is a saboteur. Saboteurs typically try to conceal their identities because of the consequences of their actions, and to avoid invoking legal and organizational requirements for addressing sabotage. The English word derives from the French word saboter, meaning to bungle, botch, wreck or sabotage, and was originally used to refer to labor disputes, in which workers wearing wooden shoes called sabots interrupted production through different means. A popular but incorrect account of the origin of the term's present meaning is the story that poor workers in France would throw a wooden sabot into the machines to disrupt production. One of the first appearances of saboteur and saboteur in French literature is in the Dictionnaire du Bus langage aux manières de per usites parmi le peuple of Dautel, edited in 1808. In it the literal definition is to make noise with sabots as well as bungle, jostle, hustle, haste. The word sabotage appears only later. The word sabotage is found in 1873 to 1874 in the Dictionnaire de la langue française of Émile Litter. Here it is defined mainly as making sabots, sabot maker. It is at the end of the 19th century that it really began to be used with the meaning of deliberately and maliciously destroying property or working slower. In 1897, Émile Pouget, a famous syndicalist and anarchist, wrote Action de saboteur un travail in Le Père Pénard, and in 1911 he also wrote a book entitled Le Sabotage. At the inception of the Industrial Revolution, skilled workers such as the Luddites used sabotage as a means of negotiation in labor disputes. Labor unions such as the Industrial Workers of the World have advocated sabotage as a means of self-defense and direct action against unfair working conditions. The IWW was shaped in part by the industrial unionism philosophy of Big Bill Haywood. And in 1910 Haywood was exposed to sabotage while touring Europe. The experience that had the most lasting impact on Haywood was witnessing a general strike on the French railroads. Tired of waiting for Parliament to act on their demands, railroad workers walked off their jobs all across the country. The French government responded by drafting the strikers into the army and then ordering them back to work. Undaunted, the workers carried their strike to the job. Suddenly, they could not seem to do anything right. Perishables sat for weeks, sidetracked and forgotten. Freight bound for Paris was misdirected to Lyon or Marseille instead. This tactic, the French called it sabotage, won the strikers their demands and impressed Bill Haywood. For the IWW, sabotage's meaning expanded to include the original use of the term. Any withdrawal of efficiency, including the slowdown, the strike, working to rule, or creative bungling of job assignments. One of the most severe examples was at the construction site of the Robert Bourassa generating station in 1974, in Quebec, Canada, when workers used bulldozers to topple electric generators, damaged fuel tanks, and set buildings on fire. The project was delayed a year, and the direct cost of the damage estimated at $2 million CAD. The causes were not clear, but three possible factors have been cited: inter-union rivalry, poor working conditions, and the perceived arrogance of American executives of the contractor, Bechtel Corporation. Certain groups turn to the destruction of property to stop environmental destruction or to make visible arguments against forms of modern technology they consider detrimental to the environment. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation and other law enforcement agencies use the term eco-terrorist when applied to damage of property. Proponents argue that since property cannot feel terror, damage to property is more accurately described as sabotage. Opponents, by contrast, point out that property owners and operators can indeed feel terror. The image of the monkey wrench thrown into the moving parts of a machine to stop it from working was popularized by Edward Abbey in the novel The Monkey Wrench Gang and has been adopted by eco-activists to describe the destruction of earth-damaging machinery. From 1992 to late 2007, a radical environmental activist movement known as ELF or Earth Liberation front engaged in a near-constant campaign of decentralized sabotage of any construction projects near wildlands and extractive industries such as logging and even the burning down of a ski resort off Vail, Colorado. ELF used sabotage tactics often in loose coordination with other environmental activist movements to physically delay or destroy threats to wildlands as the political will developed to protect the targeted wild areas that ELF engaged. In war, the word is used to describe the activity of an individual or group not associated with the military of the parties at war.